Call Haloyim Yahweh, Bahasham, Hamashiach Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rakakwadash, Barakatham. Shalom. This is your fellow servant Tazawar from the GMS Orlando camp here with another lesson. First, I want to start off by giving all glory, honor, and praise unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and from whom we learn his truth. Shalom to you Akim who are not in GMS but are pushing likewise doctrine in spirit and in truth with all sincerity. To you few sisters that are listening and learning, as well as you speckled birds who are scattered among the nations, looking like the nations. All right, to the 144,000 elect men and the rest of the hopeful elect, to you I say, Shalom. This is this week's rendition of Hebrew Conduct. All right, and it was inspired and prompted by a question, all right, that a brother I have in the world asked, and it is pertaining to bearing false witness, okay, pertaining to bearing false witness. So he asked for a couple of scriptures on that, and so I just decided to do a lesson on it. All right, so without further ado, no need for me to ramble or give a commentary. We just going to hit the scriptures. First one is Exodus chapter 20 and verse 16, right? And it reads, "Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor." All right. And then we can also go over to Exodus 23 and 1. All right. And it reads, "Thou shalt not raise a false report. Put not thine hand with the wicked to be an unrighteous witness." Okay. And the reason the brother asked me this question is because, he got some things going on in the world, where he might have to go. Well, he has to go stand before a court and a judge, right? And the opposition was found lying under oath, okay, about him. Now, albeit this individual is not considered a neighbor because this individual is not part of our nation, but nonetheless, the law stands, okay, and this country is supposed to be modeled after the scriptures, okay. Who was it? I believe Theodore Roosevelt, Teddy Roosevelt, in so many words, said that the scriptures are and is the law of the land, the book of the land. Okay. Obviously, and he also mentioned that a thorough knowledge of the scriptures is better than a college education. And obviously, we know that in the times currently, they've done away with a lot of things in the Constitution and all of that, which I'm not going to go into. I'm just going to go ahead and continue to pull some scriptures. So again, thou shalt not, this is Exodus 23 and 1. Thou shalt not raise a false report. Okay. Put not thine hand with the wicked to be an unrighteous witness. Okay. In the NLT, it reads, "You must not pass along false rumors. You must not cooperate with evil people by lying on the witness stand." Okay. Very plain. 2, you must not follow the crowd in doing wrong. When you are called to testify in a dispute, do not be swayed by the crowd to twist justice. Okay? 3, and do not slant your testimony in favor of a person just because that person is poor. Okay? So we're going to read that 1 through 3 in the KJV. It says, thou shalt not raise a false report, put not thine hand with the wicked to be an unrighteous witness. Thou shalt not follow a multitude to do evil, neither shalt thou speak in a cause to decline after many to wrest judgment. Neither shalt thou countenance a poor man in his cause. Okay? From there, let's hit Proverbs chapter 6. Okay? Proverbs chapter 6. Chapter 6 and verse 16. It reads, these 6 things doth the Lord hate. Yea, 7 are an abomination unto him. A proud look, a lying tongue, and hands that shed innocent blood. A heart that deviseth wicked imaginations, feet that be swift in running to mischief. A false witness that speaketh lies, and he that soweth discord among brethren. Okay? So from there, what I want to do is we're going to get an account. All right? We want Susanna. It's only 1 chapter, but it's a lot of verses. We're going to start at verse 7. All right, this is in the Apocrypha. All right, I'm just going to read through this real quick to give you an example of an account. All right. And it reads, this is Susanna chapter 1 and verse 7. Or Susanna verse 7. It says, now when the people departed away at noon, Susanna went into her husband's garden to walk. And the 2 elders saw her going in every day and walking. So their lust was inflamed toward her. And they perverted their own mind and turned away their eyes, that they might not look unto heaven, nor remember just judgments. And albeit they both were wounded with her love, yet durst not one show another his grief. Right? Meaning they didn't confess to each other that they were both lusting after her. All right. 11. For they were ashamed to declare their lust, that they desired to have to do with her, that they want to lay with her. Okay. Yet they watched diligently from day to day to see her. And the one said to the other, let us now go home, for it is dinner time. So when they were gone out, they parted the one from the other, and turning back again, right, they came to the same place. And after that, they had asked one another the cause. They acknowledged their lust, then appointed they a time both together when they might find her alone. And it fell out, as they watched a fit time, she went in, right, as before, with 2 maids only, 2 other women, and she was desirous to wash herself in the garden, for it was hot. And there was nobody there save the 2 elders that had hid themselves and watched her. All right. So these 2 men hid themselves. They were spying on this woman. All right. And they made themselves unknown to her. Okay. Then she said to her maids, to the 2 servant girls, bring me oil and washing balls, and shut the garden doors, that I may wash me. And they did as she bade them, and shut the garden doors, and went out themselves at privy doors to fetch the things that she had commanded them. But they saw not the elders, because they were hid. Now when the maids were gone forth, the two elders rose up and ran unto her, saying, Behold, the garden doors are shut, that no man can see us, and we are in love with thee. Therefore consent unto us and lie with us. Right? Lay with them, as in that Jodeci thing. They want to knock the boots. Right? If thou wilt not, now these are the two elders, the older men speaking to her. If thou wilt not, we will bear witness against thee that a young man was with thee, and therefore thou didst send away thy maids from thee. All right. So they said, basically they're saying, we're going to frame you. If you don't give me that box, we're going to frame your ass. Right. Then Susanna sighed and said, I am straitened on every side. Right. She's between a rock and a hard place. For if I do this thing, it is death unto me. Right. And if I do it not, I cannot escape your hands. Meaning she was going to be put to death either way was the outcome. Like if she did it, adultery, the punishment for that is death. And if she didn't, they was going to lie and say that they saw her creeping. And the punishment for that is death, right? So this is Susanna's thought right here, verse 23. It is better for me to fall into your hands and not do it than to sin in the sight of the Lord. With that, Susanna cried with a loud voice, and the two elders cried out against her. Then ran the one and opened the garden door. So when the servants of the house heard the cry in the garden, they rushed in at the privy door, right, to see what was done unto her. But when the elders had declared their matter, the servants were greatly ashamed, for there was never such a report made against Susanna. And it came to pass the next day, when the people were assembled to her husband, Joachim, the two elders came also, full of mischievous imagination against Susanna, to put her to death, right? And said before the people, send for Susanna, the daughter of Chelcias, right? Joachim's wife. And so they sent. So she came with her father and mother, her children, and all her kindred. So if you see, they're making this a public spectacle of this woman, right? And bear with me, this is a long read, okay? But I want you all to get an account, a biblical account of something, okay? About false reports. All right. Verse 30. So she came with her father and her mother, her children, and all her kindred. Now Susanna was a very delicate woman and beauteous to behold. She was fine as fuck. All right. And these wicked men commanded to uncover her face, for she was covered, that they might be filled with her beauty. Therefore her friends and all that saw her wept. All right, because it was a shame. Okay. Then the two elders stood up in the midst of the people in the crowd and laid their hands upon her head. And she, weeping, looked up toward heaven, for her heart trusted in the Lord. And the elders said, as we walked in the garden alone, this woman came in with two maids and shut the garden doors and sent the maids away. Then a young man who there was hid came in unto her and lay with her. Then we that stood in a corner of the garden, seeing this wickedness, ran unto them. And when we saw them together, the man we could not hold, for he was stronger than we, and opened the door and leapt out. But having taken this woman, we asked who the young man was, but she would not tell us. These things do we testify. Right? Then the assembly believed them as those that were the elders and judges of the people. So they condemned her to death. Right? Then Susanna cried out with a loud voice and said, O everlasting God, that knowest the secrets and knowest all things before thee, before they be, Salakia. Thou knowest that they have borne false witness against me, and behold, I must die. Whereas I never did such things as these men have maliciously invented against me. And the Lord heard her voice. Therefore, when she was led to be put to death, the Lord raised up the Holy Spirit of a young youth whose name was Daniel, who cried with a loud voice, I am clear from the blood of this woman. Then all the people turned them toward him and said, What mean ye these words that thou hast spoken? So he, standing in the midst of them in that same crowd, said, Are ye such fools, ye sons of Israel, that without examination or knowledge of the truth ye have condemned a daughter of Israel? Return again to the place of judgment, for they have borne false witness against her. Wherefore all the people turned again in haste, and the elders said unto him, Come, sit down among us, and show it us, seeing God hath given thee honor, the honor of an elder. Right? Now see, that's a crafty saying that they trying to speak to Daniel in. Since you so wise, young man, come sit down with us. Right? Basically is what they're saying. Then Daniel said unto them, Put these two aside, one far from the other, and I will examine them. Basically, so he said, split these two men up. So when they were put asunder, one from another, he called one of them and said unto him, O thou that art waxen old in wickedness, now thy sins which thou hast committed aforetime are come to light. For thou hast pronounced false judgment, and hast condemned the innocent, and hast let the guilty go free. Albeit the Lord saith, The innocent and righteous shalt thou not slay. Now then, if thou hast seen her, tell me, under what tree sawest thou them companying together? Who answered, right? So he answered, under a mastic tree. And Daniel said, Very well, thou hast lied against thine own head, for even now the angel of God hath received the sentence of God to cut thee in two. So he put him aside and commanded to bring the other, and said unto him, O thou seed of Canaan, and not of Judah, beauty hath deceived thee, and lust hath perverted thine heart. Thus have ye dealt with the daughters of Israel, and they for fear companied with you. But the daughter of Judah would not abide your wickedness. Now therefore tell me, under what tree didst thou take them companying together? Who answered, An home tree. Then Daniel said unto him, Well, thou hast also lied against thine own head, for the angel of God waiteth with the sword to cut thee in two, that he may destroy you. Right? With that, all the assembly cried out with a loud voice and praised God, who saveth them that trust in him. Right? And they arose against the two elders, for Daniel had convicted them of false witness by their own mouth. Right? Verse 62, it's the last verse that I'm going to read. And according to the law of Moses, they did unto them in such sort as they maliciously intended to do to their neighbor, and they put them to death. Thus the innocent blood was saved the same day. All right. So that's the account of Susanna. Salakia for the length. But with that, let's go back to the book of Deuteronomy, the 19th chapter, and get the law. All right. We want the 15th verse. Deuteronomy 19 and 15, and it reads, One witness shall not rise up against a man for any iniquity, right? For any sin, and any sin that he sinneth, at the mouth of two witnesses, or at the mouth of three witnesses, shall the matter be established. And we saw that there were two elders, right, who knew the law. That's why the two made the pact that the both of them would lie on Susanna, right? So it says, at the mouth of two witnesses or at the mouth of three witnesses shall the matter be established. 16, if a false witness rise up against any man to testify against him that which is wrong, then both the men between whom the controversy is shall stand before the Lord, Yahweh, before the priests and the judges, which shall be in those days, And the judges shall make diligent inquisition, and behold, if the witness be a false witness, and had testified falsely against his brother, then shall ye do unto him as he had thought to have done unto his brother. So shalt thou put the evil away from among you. All right. So I'm going to read that in the NLT. Verse 6. I'm going to start at 16. Yeah. If a malicious witness comes forward and accuses someone of a crime, then both the accuser and the accused must appear before the Lord by coming to the priests and judges in office at that time. The judges must investigate the case thoroughly. If the accuser has brought false charges against his fellow Israelite, you must impose on the accuser the sentence he intended for the other person. In this way, you will purge such evil from among you. Right? Then the rest of the people will hear about it and be afraid to do such an evil thing. And this is exactly what we saw happen in the account of Susanna. All right. Those two elder men got put to death, which was the sentence that they had intended for Susanna, who was innocent. Okay. So this is something to keep in mind. All right. And bearing false witness is a very dangerous thing. All right. So one should consider when you speak on things. All right. You don't want to be bearing false witness in ignorance, because it can come with a heavy sentence. All right. Now, consider all the things that some of these other camps done and said against the men of GMS. Right. And I'm going to leave it there. With that, I pray this lesson finds you well. I pray that it was edifying. Until next time, Shalom. Wa Abba Babal. All right. Shalak Babal. Shalak Matababal.